start by thinking about how our fear absolutely dictates and how we feel and how we act. So, and what it does to the brain. So what we know is we've got some very basic circuitry in our brain. They call the limbic system. It's the emotional system, which is absolutely essential for us to have so that we know when there's something scary or threatening and we take action. The problem with fear is it hijacks that emotional part of the brain. And when the emotional part of the brain is in the driver's seat, the thinking, planning, organizing, higher part of the brain just isn't working. So when fear comes in, thinking and planning go out the window. So what we can do is one of the most important things is to recognize that sensation, the bodily sensation of fear, and start doing some deep breathing. Fear has come in, my breath must come in even more strongly. And the mindfulness also, when the fear comes in, then get moving. So there are some physical things that we can do, and then there are some things around routines. But I'm curious, Anne, what things you would include as well in dealing with fear.
I tell you, I struggle a lot with anxiety on a good day. And so when we're dealing with like heightened worry in these times, sometimes I don't realize how worried I am about my kids, my family, the world, until I start to notice some physical symptoms in myself. Like this morning, I was excited about having this conversation with you, but I noticed my heart was pounding and I thought, that's a bit different for me. That doesn't usually happen. So I said to myself, that's what's going on here, and I need to take a couple of minutes to sort of like, clear my head, get to a calmer state. So I think like just, going in the time machine and thinking about when my kids were little, it would have been so much more beneficial if I had known back in the day that if I want to be able to respond in a calm and empathetic and kind way, as opposed to, in panicked parent mode, which is not the world's most empathetic state, I would have made life so much easier for myself and for my kids if I could have gotten to that place of not necessarily calm, but calmer. I don't think any of us are going to be totally chilled out in the next little while, but we can put the brakes on some of that level of anxiety and fear and just sit with those emotions a little, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, and I love that. I love that, giving permission to have your emotion. And that allows you that little bit of distance to be able to reflect on the emotion rather than just being slave to it driving. The other thing very practically that we can do as parents when we're feeling that fear is to think the world gets more sane when it becomes predictable. So how can I bring predictability into my routines? How can we make sure that as a family we're getting up at regular times, we're getting dressed, we're having food, we're having fun, we're having lessons if that's what you're doing. So predictability and routine is hugely important. But again, it's your point about giving yourself the okay to say, man, this is tough. This is tough, but I can manage this. I'm not alone in it.
I love what you said about structure and routine because I am somebody who loves her ruts so much. I mean, I pretty much have the same breakfast every single day. And I read somewhere that, that's a really smart thing to do because you're reducing the decision drain, and it is comforting and reassuring. So I'm thinking like, yes, a lot of things are changing right now, but if you're a really freaked out 3 or 4-year-old who is understandably freaked out, wouldn't it be great to have your favorite bowl and your favorite cereal still show up on the breakfast table, and for somebody to tuck you in with the same bedtime story at night? I mean, just having simple anchors to the two ends of the day and that sense that, we're going to get through this together, that would be hugely comforting to me as a little kid, and even as a grown-up, delivering that comfort and care to the child. So reassuring for me as well.
Yeah. So Anne, tell me more about decision drain. I love that term.
Yes, this was a study that was done showing that, if you want to not feel maxed out in your life, then come up with a uniform to wear to work every day. And right now, I mean, like, we don't even have to worry about that. But, like maybe you always wear black pants and a sweater, and all that changes is every day the color of the sweater. You don't have to every day say, oh no, should I wear my blue skirt and my, pink blouse or whatever? Just keeps life simple. So in the parenting realm, again, we always have breakfast at 8 o'clock or whatever, and we always have dinner at 6 p.m. And we don't have to think to ourselves, should we take the food out of the freezer at such and such a time, because we've worked backwards and we know what our plan is. So.
Oh, I love it, because, I can just imagine young parents now thinking, if I have to make one more frickin' decision, I am going to scream. So this is such great advice to narrow it down, get a routine, have predictability, get that decision draining out of the equation, and it leaves you more to be with your kids so they feel felt by you. I love it.